Oh shit. Yeah. I found a swivelly chair in the garbage, so I took it. It's Drewski McGillicuddy's top 5 comedies of all time. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and I've been working on this list for a while. It's very hard to come up with this list. Somebody asked me this, I think, in one of my first Q&As when I first got 100 subscribers. So I'm going to do my top 5 favorite comedies of all time. I don't know what I'm pointing at. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started with number 5. That's number 5. And that's 1995's Friday, starring Chris Tucker and Ice Cube. And oh my God, who doesn't love this movie? Have you ever met anybody that doesn't love this movie? I mean, my dad even loves this movie, and he's an old guy, you know. And we went and seen this in the theater together because we saw the trailer for it when we were at one of the other entries on this list. And I noticed that a lot of these entries are, from the 90s. But hey, guess what? I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and that's when I was watching movies. And, Friday still holds up to this day. The sequel's not so much, maybe the second one, but I can't wait for Last Friday. That's taken too long. I need to see that. They need to bring Chris Tucker back because he was just him and Ice Cube together. Like, it could have just been them on the porch. They didn't have to leave. We didn't need any other characters. Just these two interacting together. Fucking smoky, man. But then we need Ezell, because Ezell is another one of my favorite characters. And then you got Debo. Who didn't love Debo with his smelly ass draws? And then whatever the dude was that got knocked the fuck out. But and then Big Worm. He used to be in some TV show back in the day. And he played, I think it was the Parenthood or something. But yeah, I love that show. But yeah, Friday. Come on. Who doesn't love Friday? If you don't like Friday, let me know in the comments section below. And then I'll just block you from the channel. No, I'm kidding. I don't block people. But yeah, I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't love this movie. Like I said, yeah. I mean, what else can I say about it other than 1995 was a good year because number 4 is 1995's Tommy Boy, starring the one and only Chris Farley. Now let me tell you, I loved this fucking movie. You would think it'd be higher on the list because when Chris Farley died, I pretty much locked myself in my bedroom. I was probably 13 years old. I don't know how old I was, but I locked myself in my room and I cried for like 3 days because I thought no one could ever make me laugh again, because him and David Spade in this movie, I mean, it's beautiful. It's kind of along the lines of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which that movie I actually didn't like the first couple times I saw it. It slowly grew on me over the holiday seasons throughout the years. But yeah, Tommy Boy you can watch any time of year. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving. It's an any time of year movie. Who could forget Fat Guy in a Little Coat? Shit. Yeah, maybe I should throw this chair back out in the garbage. Anyway, Tommy Boy. Fucking. What else is great about that movie? Everything. I mean, everything's great about all these movies, but yes, fucking. Who's your favorite little rascal? Was it Alfalfa or was it Spanky? Let me know in the comments section down below who your favorite little rascal was. Anyway, yeah. So Tommy Boy, have you seen it? Of course you have. Otherwise, fuck is the matter with you, honestly. All right, moving on to number 3. I can't count, I can't read. And I could have started this movie back in 1994, and that's Dumb and Dumber, starring Jim Carrey and fucking Jeff Daniels and, oh my God, what was her name? Lauren Holly? Was it Lauren Holly? That's her name, right? Oh my God. Oh my God, was she not absolutely gorgeous in this movie? And somebody tried to tell me that was a butt double when he lifts her skirt, but oh my god, every line of dialogue in this movie had me rolling in the theater. And this is the movie I was talking about. Me and my dad, we were at our apartment in Price Hill, and then there was this theater that's like 30 minutes away, and we had 15 minutes to get to the movie, and thank God for 15 minutes of previews, because we got there right as the last two previews were playing, and that was Friday and Mortal motherfucking Kombat. Mortal Kombat! Anyway, we're not here to talk about that shit, alright? We're talking about Dumb and Dumber, and who can forget the Shaggin' Wagon? I mean, I love the Shaggin' Wagon, and the foot long, who got the foot long? And then the little tiny dog, come on, you lost it. And then when they had the mustard and shit all over him, you gonna run a comb through it. Just every scene in this movie is hilarious. I can't go through it all. The tuxedos, those are priceless. When they're watching the phone commercial and they're wiping their snot with $100 bills, just some of the fucking outfits they wore when they got the money. Samsonite! I was way off. Swami, Swampsy, Samson. Come on. I mean, and then who could forget, hey, let's get something to eat. And he's like, nah, I'm not hungry. I swallowed a June bug on the way here, and then it pees on him. So, and then you've gone a fourth of the way across the cut. One of these days I'll review the movie, so I don't have to sit here and just start trying to name funny scenes. But everybody should love this movie. Now the sequel, or Dumb and Dumberer, that was fucking just dumb. I mean, it wasn't dumb in a good way. It wasn't dumb funny. It was just dumb. And then I did like Dumb and Dumber 2, and I watched it in the theater. But then I tried to watch it again and made it like 15 minutes in and turned it off. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll sit down and try to watch it again back to back with the original. But nothing's gonna top the original. This used to be on my number one. It used to be my number one. But it's only because this next movie on the list I didn't appreciate as a child. And that's 1992's My Cousin Vinny. That's number 2. My Cousin Vinny. And let me tell you a little story. I tried to make a review for this movie because I watched it for the first time in like a couple years, several years. And I watched it on Blu-ray, and it looks amazing. Marissa Tomei looks fucking amazing on Blu-ray. And like I even had the one scene where she's talking about the deer and the bam, the bullets, blah 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 blah. Would you give a fuck what the son of a bitch who shot you was wearing? Anyway, so I watched the movie. I sat down. I pressed record on my camera, and I probably got up and stopped and restarted about 100 fucking times because I couldn't do it. There was so much to talk about. 2 Utes. I mean,
what's a Ute?
Everything about this movie, even if it wasn't a comedy, I mean, it's just the story. This is this could be a contender for one of the best movies of all time. But since it's a comedy, I figured I'd throw it on here because Joe Pesci's performance, I mean, he's just playing himself. But god damn, the scene where he meets Rothenstein, whatever the fucking his name was. He meets him in the jail cell, and he thinks he's another prisoner coming in, doesn't realize it's Vinny, and he's talking about, you're getting fucked one way or the other, it's your ass, not mine. I cried the first time I saw that. I laughed so hard. But there's another funny story about this movie. When my dad first rented it back in 1992 from Village Time Video, I watched the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and it didn't interest me because this was back when I was just getting into horror and I didn't really care about comedies that much. Plus, I think even though I love it now, I've always hated country music, and when the music in the opening, I didn't like it. But now it's one of my favorite songs of all time, and I don't even necessarily like country music. I like Scott H. Byram, but he's more rockabilly, blah, blah, blah. But we're not here to talk about that. But if you haven't heard of Scott H. Byram, go look it up. At Scott H. Byram. The H is for fuck you, in case you haven't seen my other hat. Anyway, My Cousin Vinny. What do you think about it, huh? Where does that rank on your comedies of all time list? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, we only got one more left? One more left? Now, I get it, yeah. A lot of the main majority of this list are from the 90s. I mean, 95 was a good year. 94 was a good year because The Mask also came out, also starring Jim Carrey. But before we get to number one, I also want to give an honorable mention. But the reason this movie, actually two movies I want to give an honorable mention, because this one would have been number 6, and that's Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy. One of my favorite, one of my favorite 80s comedies. I should have just did, maybe that's what I should have did. I should have started from a decade and then decade, whatever, who gives a shit. But anyway, Coming to America. That would have been number 6. And then the reason I didn't put this other movie starring Eddie Murphy on the list is because it's going to be on my greatest movies of all time list. In which case I will do 10. Because, usually I just like to do 5. But that is Life, starring Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. And if you haven't seen Life, fucking, I'm not even gonna, am I gonna have the poster? Should I have the poster pop up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the poster pop up. See, Life. That way you know what to fucking look for and you can go watch it if you haven't seen this fucking masterpiece of a fucking movie. Okay? Okay? Alright, that's enough about that. Let's talk about number 1 from 2008, starring everybody's favorite duo of curly-headed fucks. That's Step Brothers, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Who didn't fucking love this movie? Oh my fucking God. This movie came out when I worked at the theater. And the funny thing is, Talladega Nights, I laughed my ass off at the trailer. And then I went and saw it, and I actually fucking walked out of it. And later on in life, I grew to appreciate the comedy. But the first time I saw Step Brothers, I think it was the screening. We had to watch it to make sure everything was intact. And I got paid to watch Step Brothers. And I probably watched that movie 20 fucking times. I probably watched it twice a day the entire time it was in theaters. And it's just the most quotable, and half the stuff in it, it shouldn't even be funny, but just who it's coming from. And they're so believable as these 40-year-old fucking idiots that still live at home with their parents. And then, what's his name? God, the one that plays Dale's brother, or is it Dale's brother? Is it Dale? He's in a bunch of stuff. He was in a really underrated movie that we'll talk about eventually. Maybe it'll be on one of the movies never heard of. But Adam Scott, that's his name. Adam Scott. He is like the best at playing a fucking asshole douchebag. Have you seen my review for Secret Life of Walter Mitty? Because he was great in that. He's great in this. The scene where he fucking pops up in the thing and pulls his I haven't had carbs in over a decade. You see this shit? I loused this up with Kiehl's in the shower. Oh my God. And then who forget about, why are you so sweaty? I've been watching Cops. And then, he hadn't been watching Cops. He's been playing with a drum set. And then he goes and he puts his he's like, what does he say? Nut sack. I'm gonna put my ball sack on your drum set. I'm even playing Moby Dick for real. I mean, and who can forget the fucking Catalina wine mixer? Yeah, I mean, if you don't like this movie, there's probably something wrong with you. But that's neither here nor there. Have you seen Step Brothers? That's the most important thing. Have you seen Step Brothers? Okay? Yeah. Number 1. And then, for shits and giggles, I'm going to throw out another honorable mention because, I am fucking, what am I, a rebel? I do things my own way. I make the rules here, motherfucker. Another honorable mention is Due Date, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis. That's technically a remake, I think, in my opinion, of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So hey, there's another one just for fun. All those honorable mentions, but yeah, you got the 5. So let me know year 5 or year 10 or come on, let's have conversations and shit. I got this new swivelly chair that I found in the garbage, but I'm probably going to just throw it back in the garbage, even though it's a fifth. Never mind. It's none of your goddamn business. Just like the fucking video, subscribe if you haven't, share with your friends, and, whatever else, And thanks to my Patreons, we're going to have this little fancy title card, and now Steven told us his last name, so he's going to be on there. I'm just going to go before I keep rambling. Bye.
I need $1.